Welcome learners. I am Dr. Rakhi Sharma from School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University. So learners, in this session we are going to discuss about the load scheduling and load balancing. The last session we discussed about the grid management. So further under the distribution system, power distribution system, we are going to discuss about the load scheduling and the load balancing. This is a very important topic. So now we will see what is load scheduling and what is load dispatch. So load scheduling means fixing the schedules of generation of power for generating stations. Generating stations are producing the power, so it is necessary to fix the schedule for them for the generation and the schedules for draw of the power by the states, because the power is drawn by the states. It is as per their load requirement, so their schedule also need to be fixed. So this load scheduling means both sides. That means the scheduling from of the generation side and scheduling of the draw of power by the state. So scheduling is done for the day ahead by regional load dispatch center. I have already mentioned this thing in my previous sessions that this load dispatch center responsibility for the load scheduling and system operation. So this is done by the load dispatch center to ensure balance between the load and generation in the grid with the aim of achieving an operating grid frequency of 50 Hz for the quality supply. Since power cannot be stored to a large extent, power generated has to be used at the instant of the time. Therefore, it has to be ensured that generation matches the load at each point of time. This is need to be taken care while load scheduling and load dispatching. So load scheduling are prepared on 15 minutes basis. That means the schedules are prepared whenever we that load dispatch center, they prepare the schedule or they get the schedule from the states or from the generating plants. It is scheduled for 15 minutes basis to see that the average generation of electrical energy over 15 minutes matches the load over those 15 minutes. The scheduling is done one day before for the day ahead. So as per a time schedule specified by Indian Electricity Grid Code, generally we know that grid code as per the Electricity Act 2003. So that the state power utilities plan the load management for the next day. So it is clear to you that it is done at one day ahead. For example, suppose a state finds that after taking into account its own expected generation for the next day and the net draw schedule of the next day, so it would fall short of meeting its anticipated requirement for the next day by 200 megawatt during the peak time, then it would have to plan a load shedding of 200 megawatt. Schedules can also be changed on same day due to the major load variations experienced by the state due to the abnormal weather conditions. So for example, the rains in the summer could cause a reduction of the agriculture load and AC load, and heavy rains could cause disruption in the transmission system and hence loss of load. So the rescheduling would be valid after a time gap of about 1.5 an hour so as to enable the implementation of new schedules. So this rescheduling can also be done by the regional load dispatcher in case of transmission bottleneck and grid disturbances. And that means the requirement of the state as per their required send the schedule to the regional load dispatch centers. So this scheduling is important because it meant to ensure the desired operating frequency of the grid. There are financial penalties for violating these schedules if these violations burdens the grid, and financial incentives if violation help the grid through the component of the tariff or known as unscheduled interchanges. That means what are the load requirements which is given by the states to the regional load centers. So So the anticipation should be on the correct basis, like it should be properly planned. Otherwise, if it is not proper, then there are some provisions of the penalty, because this may cause the disturbance in the grid frequency. How? Because you know that what is the frequency indicates the balance between the generation and the load consumption, and so the proper balance between the load and generation. Then suppose the load requirement is more and generation is less, the plan is not sent correctly by the state, then what will happen? This will cause the deviation in the frequency, which is not desirable. So violating these schedules may cause penalty. So monitoring the parameters of the grid is the prime real function of the load dispatch center. So these parameters include operating frequency, voltage levels at all points of the grid, status of the line and the transformer loading throughout the grid, especially in crucial points. So in order to help the grid operator monitor these parameters over the large number of the points in the grid, the load dispatch center is equipped with SCADA. This is supervisory control and data acquisition system. So this is the IT initiatives which have already been taken by most of the distribution utilities, and this supervisory control data acquisition system is called SCADA. So it helps the grid operator to monitor these parameters, and complete information can be obtained by this information technology. Based on the alarms generated by the SCADA system, action is taken by the grid operator by giving the instruction to all concerned. So any deviation is there, any demand is there, any changes are there, so they generate the instructions and they send the instructions to the concerned. So all the instructions of the grid operator have to be followed. It is essential. So all instructions are also recorded on the sound recorder to be replayed at the time of the analysis of the grid incident or any contingency. So grid needs to be constantly monitored to observe whether it is operating within its limit. So this work is being done by the RLDC, Regional Load Dispatch Center, and the SLDC, State Load Dispatch Centers. These load dispatch center coordinates between the central generating stations and states through this SLDCs. So sometimes the restoration of the grid also required. So restoration of the grid involves restoring the grid after the grid disturbances. Once the grid disturbance is there, and so it is necessary that how to restore that grid. So grid disturbance normally takes place in a matter of milliseconds, and there is no time for the grid operator to react. Therefore, the operational procedure for restoration of the grid are planned well in advance, and these come under the scope of the offline operational planning. So the grid operator just has to follow the procedure for restoring the grid. And so we now describe the load scheduling process. What are these load scheduling process? So the process, basically these load scheduling process starts with the central generating stations, which is also called CGS. So it starts with the generating stations, because generating station is the station which is giving the power to the load. So when the process starts with the central generating station in the region, they have to declare their expected output capacity in megawatt for the 96 slots of 15 minutes duration during the next day to the regional load dispatch centers. That means these generating stations need to give information to the regional load dispatch center that how much energy they can, electrical power they can generate, and they provide in a very systematic manner for the next day plan. They have to be informed through this RLDCs well in advance. So, and this is given in the form of the slots of 15 minutes duration for the next day. So these regional load dispatch center breaks up the whatever sent by the generating plants, and tabulates these output capabilities or declaration given by the generating plants as per their beneficiaries requirement, or as per their beneficiaries plant-wise shares, and conveys their entitlements to the state load dispatch centers. So state load centers which are required from the regional load centers. So as per the complete plan, whatever will be their share. So this all is tabulated, and later then carry out the exercise to see how best they can meet the load of consumers over the day for their own generating stations, along with their entitlement in the central stations. So they also take into account the irrigation release requirements, then distribution utilities load schedule for the next day, and even the load curtailment, etc. And that they propose in the respective areas. So the state load dispatch center then convey to the regional load dispatch centers their schedule of power drawn. Whatever they want from the regional load dispatch center and from the grid, so they inform to the regional load dispatch centers. So the power draw from the central stations, and limited to the entitlement of the day. Every day they have to send one their demand, and every day the scheduling is done. The regional load dispatch center aggregate these requisitions and determines the dispatch schedule for the central generating stations, and the draws schedules for beneficiaries states as a whole, duly incorporating any bilateral agreements if there, and adjusting for transmission losses. So these schedules are then issued by the regional load dispatch center to the concerned and become operational. However, in case of contingencies, central stations can prospectively revise the output capabilities. It is not necessary that they cannot revise. They can the central stations which are the power plant, so they can also revise their output capabilities, which they declare to the regional load dispatch center. So and beneficiaries can prospectively revise their requisitions also, and schedules are correspondingly revised by regional load dispatch centers. So it is for the state loads dispatch centers to further break up these state entitlements into DISCOM entitlements and state generation schedules. So first of all, states see that how the requirement they can make their own, and then after the requisition is sent to the regional load dispatch center, and the revision is possible, but it is not very easy. So it is while making the or sending the plan to the control centers, regional control centers, it is all caution need to be taken care. So while the schedules are so finalized, become the operational datum, and regional constituents are expected to regulate their generation and consumer load in a way that the actual generation and the draws generally follows these schedules, and deviations are followed as long as they do not endanger the system security. Now let us come to the load shedding. What is this load shedding? You have heard this word load shedding. So what does it mean? So during the normal operation of the grid, it is possible that load exceeds the generation. What will happen if the load exceeds the generation? Your generation is less and your demand is high. So if this happens, the frequency of the system goes down. Yes, because it indicates the balance between the generation and the load frequency. So frequency of the system goes down. So the standard frequency is 50 Hz, but the frequency can go down up to the 49 Hertz. After this value, it is not advisable to allow it to reduce it any further, since it can cause the system to lose synchronism and load to ultimate collapse of the system. So as a result, we go for purposeful shading of the load, which is known as the load shading. That means purposeful power cut. So this is called the load shading. So load shading is process of reducing the load on the grid. So by cutting the load, we are reducing the load on the grid so as to save the grid as a whole if the demand is high. So load scheduling can be done in two ways. It can be done automatic or manual load shedding is also possible. For automatic or for this purpose, automatic frequency relays are installed for automatic load shedding. Under frequency relays, you have heard about this. So these are installed, and these relays carry out automatic shading of the load if the frequency falls below the certain level. And manual load shedding, for the special guidelines have been provided by regional load dispatch center and state load dispatch centers for the load shedding at different frequency levels. And these guidelines depends upon the grid parameters at a particular instance, as well as some fixed guidelines for frequency falling below the particular limit, or area wise or consumer category wise shading is also there. Offline operational planning. So you have studied about the offline operational planning of the grid, which involves the grid security issues and restoration of the grid, and commercial issues or billing. So we are discussing it in briefly here. So grid security issues basically involves the load generation balance planning in respect of active power for the next year, which is reviewed on quarterly and then monthly basis, in order to ensure that the frequency stays at nominal level. So long-term security planning is done here. Then installation of capacitors or reactors to obtain the proper voltage profile in the grid. That means reactive power compensation for the grid security issue. Then line and transformer loading. This need to be checked. They should not be overloaded. So this grid security issue also involves these line and transformer loading issues. Then protection coordination should be there. Monitoring of the grid. Grid security issues involve continuous monitoring of the grid. Then proper analyzing of tripping of the lines as well as of grid disturbances and taking corrective measures thereof. So these all aspects are involved by the grid security. So under frequency and rate of change of frequency relays, these are installed as security measures to cut off load in case of gradual or a sudden drop in the generation, especially to ensure nominal frequency in the grid. Under operational planning, the procedures are also formed for restoration of the grid in case of the tripping of some or more elements of the grid or for total blackout. So this is done by the regional load dispatch centers responsible for the real-time operation of the regional grid. So in consultation with all the players involved in the grid operation, one of the points involved in grid restoration is black start, which means starting of generating units after the blackout. And since hydro generators requires the least power for starting, they are normally started first, or in other words used for black start. Now I'm going to define you the load balancing. What is this, and how the load balancing is done, and what does it mean first. So load balancing is the process of achieving the and maintaining the equal load on the each phase of the distribution transformer. You know that distribution transformer, it is from the primary distribution that suppose at 11 kV, it is converted to the 400 volt. Similarly, from the 33 kV to 11 volt. So these are connected in a star delta manner, so three-phase supply is given in the input side, and the three-phase output is obtained from the secondary side, and the voltage level is changed. So what kind of load balancing is expected here? So the load, basically the loading on the primary side and the secondary side of distribution transformers, it should be equal. That means the loading on the as I have shown in the figure, you can see here that the HT side, IA, IB, IC, and you can see here in the LT side that in the three-phase the current is IA, IB, IC. So for the load, proper balancing of the load, we can say that from the HT side that IA, each phase the current is equal. IA is equal to IB is equal to IC. Similarly, in the case of LT side, low tension side of the transformer, there is IA, this each phase the current is equal. IA is equal to IB equal to IC. This is ideally for the system. It is expected that the load should be balanced for the smooth operation, or for balance. The balancing is required. If load on each phase of the distribution transformer is not equal, it is called unbalanced loading of the transformer. So particularly speaking, balanced load cannot be maintained on the transformer due to the inherently varying nature of the load. You know very well that secondary side is connected to the consumers, and it is very difficult to maintain the equal load at each phase. Each transformer supplies power to the resistive load. That can be the bulb, heaters, and the resistive loads are there, and inductive loads can be the motors or big machines. So these loads can be either single phase, distributed separately on three phases, or three phase in nature. So if the distribution transformer is supplying power to only three phase loads, then achieving and maintaining a balanced load on transformer could be an easier task. But in practice, it does not happen. In practice, this happens very rarely, because each installation process, either three phase or single phase or both the loads, will keep changing at different points of time. So apart from the natural unbalancing, unbalanced load may also result from load shedding of the one phase in each of the low tension feeders emanating from the distribution substation. So thus it is really a difficult task for distribution utility to maintain the balanced load on a distribution transformer, because it is directly connected to the consumer, and consumer load may keep changing. So however, it is important for many reasons. Load balancing is important, yes. Why? Because it provides extended life to the transformer, which remains in service for a longer period of time. Improved quality of the supply. With load balancing, yes, we can get the good quality supply. Then lesser maintenance cost on the distribution power or power transformer, leading to increase in utility operational profit. Yes, and at last the consumer satisfaction. Load balancing is there, that means we are giving the quality power and least disturbances. So that means we are providing the consumer satisfaction. So difficulties in maintaining the balanced load on a transformer. So what are these? So let us discuss briefly about this. So the distribution transformer supplies power to the domestic and or commercial consumers. So in practice, it is seen that all the consumers will not switch on their entire connected load at the same instant of the time, which are connected to the distribution transformer three phases. So switching off load vary with time, and also with the requirement of the consumers. So this is expressed in terms of the diversity factor, which is very important term in the power system. So if it is equal to 1, it means that all the consumers are in need of their entire connected load at the same instant of time. So this is the diversity factor. If it is 1, it doesn't mean. So in practice, the diversity factor ranges between 2 and 3. If diversity factor is more, then there is a greater possibility that the load on each phase of the distribution transformer will vary and not be equal. So now consider the electric utility which is supplying the power to the small industrial consumers. In this case, the transformer will be supplying to more 3-phase loads than single-phase loads. So the diversity factor for small industrial consumers will be less as compared to the domestic or commercial consumers. But for the large industrial consumer, the diversity factor will be even less. It is possible. But some degree of unbalanced loading will still remain on the transformer. So the task of distribution utility is to reduce the degree of unbalanced loading. So we offer some tips for this. What are these tips? Some tips to operate transformer near the balanced loading. For this, connect the single phase load on each phase of distribution transformer so that at the end, current in each phase of the transformer will be almost equal. And it has been seen that linemen or wiremen connect to the single phase load of the to the lower phase of the pole. What they do, the linemen and wiremen, generally what they do, suppose there are the 3 phases, they connect the loads to the lower phase of the pole. So it may be due to the illiteracy or hesitation to connect the load in a single phase load on the top of the pole. So the distribution utility must ensure supervision of the job at the time of connecting the new single phase load in order to avoid such practices. So this need to be monitored. In some distribution utilities, transformer do not have current measuring instruments, and hence continuous surveillance cannot be done to check whether distribution transformer is equally loaded, balanced. In this case, the current must be measured for all the phases by using clamp-on meter at least once during the peak hours, and a record should be kept by analyzing the past trend, and the average current can be calculated. So, but due consideration must be given to the providing the solid earthing, or that means that in the case of the transformer, it is also essential that the solid earthing to the neutral of the transformer is to be provided, and proper size of the blowout fuses. If there is some unbalance, that means some phase may carry more current and its current carrying capacity, so the fuse should be blowout fuse should be there. With this discussion, I am bringing this discussion to end, and learners, we have discussed about the grid management issues and in our previous sessions, and in this session we have discussed about the very important aspects of the load shading, load scheduling, dispatching, and load balancing. With this, I am ending this session, and we will discuss more in the next session. Thank you.